Hi you guys, my name is Cyan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a massive book haul for you guys. In my opinion, it's massive. I spent way too much money, but we're not going to talk about that part. We're going to talk about the fun part. So the first one that I have is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. All I really know about this one is I'm pretty sure our main character, she goes to this hotel and she has like a plan to end her own life. But as it turns out, there is also a wedding going on. So like the bride, her family, everyone is staying at this hotel as well. And I think the two of them form a friendship. I think it's just considered literary fiction, but it sounds really interesting to me. And I've also heard so many amazing things about it. So I'm interested to get into this one. I do hate though that there's this thing that's just part of the cover, but it is what it is. Next up, I have a Scythe and Sparrow. That is not the correct term. Scythe and Sparrow. I do know how to read. This is by Bryn Weaver. It is the third in the Ruinous Love trilogy. I've read the other two. I don't necessarily love this series, but they are just like a fun, good time, and they're goofy, so every once in a while, I want to pick one up. Next up, I have Unloved. This is by Peyton Corinne. This is the second in a series. These are hockey college sports romances. I absolutely loved the first one. If you want a new hockey romance sports college series to fall in love with, I highly recommend it. I feel like it is criminally underrated because it's so good, and I have actually already read this one and it's just as great. Okay, so definitely give it a shot if you haven't already. Next up, I got First Time Caller. This is by BK Borison. It's just a new release and a lot of people have been talking about it, especially because Valentine's Day was this month, and I feel like, you know, now that it's heating up a little bit too, I'm just in such a romance era, so I want some more romances, and this one seems fun. Okay, I have some other new releases. The other one is Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. This is, I guess, like a companion novel following Out on a Limb. I love Out on a Limb so much, and there's a couple in there, Sarah and, what is his name? Caleb. Sarah and Caleb, they are a couple and they're the main character's friends in the first book. They're already married and everything, so it's interesting what this is going to be about. I don't think it's their love story per se. I think it's going to be like maybe they're having some marital issues, and I feel like that's always an interesting take on a book, but I also just really love their personalities, so I wanted this one as well. Next up, I have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This is her newest release. I have already read this one too, and I'll give my full thoughts and opinions during my reading wrap up. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I had a good time. It was like a 3.5, 3.75. I mean, I just like Ali Hazelwood's writing. Anyways, I have it, bought it, read it. Then, one of you guys in my book club recommended the author Kimberly Lemming. I've never heard of this author, but her books seem like they're going to be a ridiculously fun time. So I did pick up one. It is I Got Abducted by Aliens and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com. I've never read anything with aliens in it, so I might be into it. Who knows? I also got 3 of Abby Jimenez's books because I do love Abby Jimenez. I've read 3 of hers, so I wanted to get the other ones. I think these ones came before the 3 that I read. So I just want to read everything she writes because I love her writing. So I got these 3. The first one, I don't know if these have an order to them or if they're like, you know, interconnected, but I have 3 of them. The first one is Life's Too Short. I know nothing about these. These I will be going into completely blind. The next one is The Friend Zone. Ooh, can you guys see that? I don't know. Anyways, and then we have the Happy Ever After playlist. I know a little bit about this one. I think she finds his dog while he's on vacation and she keeps it or something. I don't know. But I have those. Then I also got a book by Christina Lauren. This is The Paradise Problem by them. I've also heard really great things about this one, so I'm excited. I want some summery romances just to like get in the summer mood, you know? And this seems like it's gonna be a fun time. I also think this one, I know it's about like 2 college students who they get fake married in order to save money on housing, but then as it turns out he comes from a very rich family and they actually are really still married. Seems great. Okay, next up I got Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I actually have already read this book twice since I got into reading. I just love it so much, and I don't know why I've never bought the physical copy, but I decided I needed to have it because at some point I'm probably gonna read it again. This is such a good book. Love it so much, and a lot of Penelope Douglas's other writing is just so different from this, so I don't know if her other books are my speed, but this one for sure, 10 out of 10. Next up is another romance. This is Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. I've heard nothing about this. I don't even know anything about this author either, but the cover just spoke to me. And also, you know, I went to school for criminal justice. I have interned in a morgue and have seen and worked on autopsies, so like, I don't know, they're at a grave site. It spoke to me, you know? So that's why I got this one. Next up, this book was actually sent to me. I don't know by who because it wasn't on my wish list, but it had a little note that said, enjoy your gift and no name. So if it was you that sent it, thank you. This book scares me though. It's If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I know a lot of people love this book, but I get nervous when it comes to, what is this genre? Dark academia? Is that what this is considered? I get nervous when it comes to that because there's like the smutty, fun, goofy side of dark academia, and then there's like this super serious, like you need to know Shakespeare side, and I am obviously not on that side. So nervous, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll read it. Okay, and then this one is a new release. It is Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. I absolutely love. Now hold up. If you love a book, you should remember the title. I know it's The Crimson Moth, but here in the US it's not. Heartless Hunter is what it's called in the US. Love that book. 5-star. One of my favorites from last year that I've read in a very long time. I'm constantly thinking about that book, so I am excited to get the second in the series. I want to read it immediately. Love, love, love this series so much. So good. Even though I've only read the first book, but I've also heard the great things about this one. Some people even saying that it's better than the first. We love to hear it. Next up, I have The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I believe this is more of like a cozy fantasy. I've yet to step into the world of cozy fantasies, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I am someone who likes more of the high risk side of fantasies, so we will see how this one goes. I've heard it's really cute though, and it's got like the whole family values. I think there are children, so you know, children, family, that kind of thing. Next up, I have another romance. This is The Confidence of Wildflowers. I believe this is like an age gap nanny romance. I could be wrong, but I've heard great things about it. And you know, I love a little bit of some taboo-ness every once in a while, so I'm into it. That is one of my favorite tropes. Age gap, nanny, slow burn, small town. I love all the romance tropes, but I am excited to get into this. Next up is a Frederick Bachman book. This is Beartown. Again, I've just heard great things about this. I think this series is more of like literary fiction. Sounds interesting. A lot of people say that it's a little bit sad, so we will see. Packed with wise insights into the human experience. Okay then. Okay, this next series I'm so excited for because these covers are absolutely beautiful, stunning, chef's kiss work of art. That is the Hunger Games series. I have these special editions. Can we just take a moment of silence? I mean, come on. These are so beautiful. It does come with the first three: Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and then it has the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Quick question though, because I do think I want to read these pretty soon and do a reading vlog on it. With spoilers, is this supposed to technically go before these three? Should I read this first? I know it was published later, but I think it's President Snow's story. Should it be read first, or should I read it after? Let me know, okay, because I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited. I have not read the Hunger Games series. I remember specifically the first book, it came out when I was in the 7th grade, and we read it as a class. It's been a very long time. I'm almost 26, so I'm practically geriatric now. I think enough time has passed to where I have completely forgotten what's going on in there, and it would be so much fun to read it again. So let me know if you want that vlog and which book I should read first. Moving on, I have two more romances. This is part of a sports romance series by Kennedy Ryan. I have Hookshot and Blockshot. I don't know which one comes next, but I have read the first one. Beautiful story. Absolutely loved it. Need to finish up this series. They do have heavier topics in them. Well, the first one did, and I feel like these are going to as well, but I loved it so much, so I definitely need to get back into it. Next up, I have Kingdom of the Feared by Carrie Maniscalco. I actually have the first and second book. I've read the first. I haven't read the second, but since it's a trilogy and I'm trying to finish up series, I figured I'd get the last one and it would, you know, motivate me to finish off this series sooner rather than later. Okay, then I bought this one purely based off of the cover and because I do love small town romances, and that is On the Fence by J.S. Woods. Look at this. Are you kidding me? I think this is stunning. I love my cowboys. So, although not in real life. In real life, cowboys are not built like this. Moving on. Next up, okay, I don't love Emily Henry, but the paperback of Funny Story did just finally come out. And I feel like sometimes I do want a more slow, like Annabelle Monaghan, like that type of romance where it's not super fast. So I feel like maybe I could get down with this every once in a while. I did actually really like Happy Place. So again, I do want to continue reading from her, but I just feel like I'll have to be in the mood. Next up is another recommendation from one of you guys in my book club, and it is They're Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. I've actually heard nothing about this book. I don't know what it's about. One of you recommended it. I'm easily influenced, so I got it. Next up, another recommendation from one of you guys is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Ariu. I'm not even gonna attempt the last name, but I have heard good things about Heavenly Bodies. I have just been intimidated by it and I didn't want to go into it, mostly because I remember like a while ago Destiny Sidwell tried to read this and said that she couldn't get into it. Or maybe I'm making that up. Maybe that never happened, but in my mind I feel like I remember her saying that. And so I was like, if she didn't like it, I probably won't like it. But you know what? I'm a grown woman and I can form my own thoughts and opinions. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, next up I got the last two books in another series that I'm in the middle of, and that is the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. I'm a huge Elsie Silver fan, love her writing. I read the first one, I have the second, haven't read it yet, but I also needed the last two, so I just went ahead and bit the bullet and got them, and I also really love these covers. So at some point I will get to those. Next up is a duology, but technically they're part of the same universe as a trilogy that I've yet to read. That trilogy is the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I haven't read them, but I do have all of them, so I decided to go ahead and get Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom as well. I believe these come after the Shadow and Bone trilogy, so once I read those, then I'll be able to get into these. Yeah, not much else I can say because I absolutely know nothing about those books. Next up, this was another impulse buy because I believe this is a student teacher, but this time the teacher or professor is a woman and the student is a male student. So I thought it'd be interesting. It's Lessons in Corruption by Gianna Darling. That sounds so familiar. Gianna Darling. I feel like I've heard that name before, but I can't remember for the life of me if I've read anything by this author. But it sounds interesting until you read the back and it says he was 18. I didn't really think this one through. I thought it would have been college, but he's the heir to a notorious criminal MC and my student. This could either go two ways. I could really love it or it could make me really uncomfortable. We will have to see. I do believe it's a series as well, so there's that one. Then I got a Mariana Zapata book. I decided to go with Colty this time. I just love her writing, slow burn. It's also about soccer. I played soccer growing up all throughout middle and high school, so I love reading soccer romances and I feel like I haven't found that many, but I love her writing, love the slow burnness of it all, so we'll get into this eventually. Okay, two more romances. These are the first two in a series. I do think these are also sports romances, but that is Fair Catch and Blindside by Candy Steiner. Now, I did read A Love Letter to Whiskey by this author. Absolutely hated that book, but it is because of the tropes in there. I did say while reading it that I loved her writing style and that at no point was I bored or anything. I was just frustrated with the whole premise of the book and like the glorification of cheating. But I'm gonna give her another chance. Hopefully these ones don't have any tropes like that. I won't know until I get into them, but like I said, still liked her writing. Okay, then I have two more small town romances. I feel like I've just been really wanting some small town romances. Okay, Dash. I feel like I'm just really in the mood, especially during the summertime, for the small town cowboy romances, so I got two more. These are also the first two in a series, and that is Cash and Wyatt. This is by Jessica Peterson. I like these covers. I think they're so much fun, and just having the name of your books, the character's name, simple enough. So yeah, it's part of a Lucky River Ranch novel. We will see if they're any good. They're also on Kindle Unlimited, and I wanted them, so I bought them. And then the last book I have to show you guys is a fantasy, and it is The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. I don't know. I just feel like I've seen people reading it and rating it. I haven't actually heard anyone say what it's about or give like an in-depth rating. I've just seen people that I follow on Goodreads rate it 4 or 5 stars, so I want to try it out, get into it eventually. And then as for a pre-order, I actually do have a pre-order that I ordered that just hasn't come in yet, and it is the next book in Elsie Silver's Rose Hill Ranch series, Wild Side. I ordered that. I did get the edition that has like the mountain on the side because with the last one I messed up and got the one without the mountain, so then I had to repurchase and buy the one with the mountain. Yeah, I bought that, so that should be coming in shortly, as well as my book of the month box. This isn't sponsored, but like if you're interested to know what I chose this month, I did choose Our Infinite Fates. So it's another fantasy. Again, I know nothing about it, but it seems interesting. And then I had a free book this month for some reason, so I ended up getting The God of the Woods. I've heard that this one is very interesting. I'm excited to actually get that one for sure and to read it eventually. But yeah, that is my book haul. I think it's safe to say I won't be purchasing books for a while, hopefully. But you know, every payday I just like browse and then I'm like, well, this one seems interesting, so. Anyways, that's all the books that I have. If you see one that you really want me to read, let me know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions if you have read any of the books that I bought, because, well, actually, only let me know if you have good thoughts on a book that I purchased. Because if you tell me something negative, odds are I will not read it for a very long time. So if you liked any of these books and you really think I should give them a shot and read them, let me know. But that is it for me. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week. What else do I normally say? Yeah, that's it. Have a good week. I'll see you guys in my next video. If you've made it to the end, this is your sign to buy yourself a book. You deserve it. We all deserve it. Okay? So have fun. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!